Hello, everybody. Scott Golden here with the Pro Wrestling Logic YouTube channel and the SmackDown review for the 9/11/2020 edition of SmackDown. Overall, not the best show. It's so weird. This program goes back and forth, and there are some weeks I love it, and there are other weeks I wonder why I watch, and this fell in the I wonder why I watch this category. There wasn't enough here. And again, I hold it to a higher standard because it's network television. I hold it to a higher standard because those that have cut cords, as far as cable and satellite is concerned, could be converted with this program. And so I expect better from it, and maybe I shouldn't. But anyway, so he opens SmackDown with a recap of the Roman Reigns winning the Universal Championship and Jey Uso winning the Fatal 4-Way last week. Most people know I'm not a fan of these. They should be 60 seconds or less. It literally should be, if you have to do it, maybe 4 minutes out of a 2-hour program should be dedicated to recaps. Anything more than that is waste of TV time, waste of TV money, in my personal opinion. In any event, so Roman Reigns and Heyman come out with a promo. I'm a fan of Heyman and Reigns. I'm not a fan of opening the show with a promo, but it's been tradition for 20 plus years now. Not going to change WWE away from that. Anyway, so obviously there are fans that are booing this as best you can get through the Thunderdome concept. Heyman explains that that Reigns has no secrets, and they discuss Jey Uso winning. Heyman oddly praises Uso and then brings him out. Heyman notes that Uso should thank Roman Reigns for this because Reigns is the one that came up with the plan to get him the opportunity when Big E was jumped out last week. So shouldn't that, in theory, means that when Big E returns, he has a problem with Jey Uso? Or Roman Reigns, or both? Hopefully they tie that story together. Anyway, Reigns notes that Uso earned it and that this is a huge payday for his family. Clash of Champions is going to be just like when they were kids. Reigns is going to beat him. Corbin's music hits. Why is Corbin part of this? Like, he's not even on that level. Obviously, they're setting up the tag match main event, which tag match throwaways just to fill TV time is lazy booking, and it doesn't get us anywhere. I know the argument's going to be that, well, you have, now 150 television programs a year, 100 and plus pay-per-views, probably 175, that you have to fill, and you've got to... But if you don't have characters that are compelling, and that you have to just throw them into matches when you have over 100 talents on contract, that's the fault of the writers. Every TV show should have a match that, at least one, that makes sense with the story, and this is just thrown together for the sake of throwing it together. Corbin walks out, says that Reigns is abusing his power. Sheamus interrupts that. He makes his way to the ring. And Sheamus and Corbin agree. Weren't they fighting like 2 months ago? Anyway, Sheamus complains there's no way to prepare for a match on short notice. Uso challenged Corbin and Sheamus to take him on with Reigns in a tag team match. I hated this. I hate it because Uso's speaking for Reigns. Uso is the babyface. Reigns is the heel. If anything, it should have been flipped the other way. Heyman and Reigns should have conversed, and it should have looked like Reigns is magnanimous for agreeing to team with his cousin. Otherwise, this just looks like Jay's overstepping boundaries, and it sets him up to get beat down for no real reason. Anyway, so they challenge. Notice that Reigns does not agree to the match. He stands there. It's a good promo from Heyman, good promo from Reigns. I don't like the heel-face dynamic as I just explained, but it is what it is. They announce a 4-way for reasons that make no sense to me against with Alexa Bliss, Nikki Cross, Lacey Evans, and Tamina for a shot at Bayley's title. Hasn't Bailey in the last year beaten all of these people? Uh, some of them multiple times. Why should we care that Bailey's being challenged by somebody that she's already beaten? Unless you're going to heat them up and give them an issue. Uh, isn't one of the main things about WWE's story. The story here is we don't care enough about our female talent on SmackDown to get them heated up enough that a network per-view match matters. Anyway, we then see Sami Zayn, easy for me to say. He's in the production truck. He's angry about the advertising of the AJ Styles Jeff Hardy match being an Intercontinental title match. So then we go to commercial. We come back. Hardy and Styles is out in an Intercontinental title match. Not a fan of this. Both guys over 40. With the, let's say, second or third title in the, well, let's say fourth or fifth. The heavyweight championships matter more than this. So fourth or fifth title in the company, and two guys over 40 are feuding over it. Zayn interrupts, ring introductions. He's angry. Angry that they've made the match about the Intercontinental title. And Adam Pearce comes out, and they force Zayn to go away. Styles and Hardy do have a decent match for the sake of the match, but again, there's talk that Styles wants to retire. Hardy's on his last legs. They should not be given TV time unless it's to get people over. And don't. I would hate the argument. Well, we're on TV and we've got to have stars. Great. Then you should have opened with a match and not a promo that could have been put segment 2 or 3. And if you're really trying to get people in for the sake of action, so it doesn't. Their logic doesn't make sense. Anyway, so. Styles jump starts the match, beats Hardy up. Hardy comes back, hits Twist of Fate, attempts a Swanton. Styles out of the way, and they go to commercial right as Hardy is selling. Back from the break, and Styles is in control. Hardy hits a Whisper in the Wind for near fall. Styles regains control again. I mean, decent back and forth. Hardy counters, hits a basement drop kick. Styles goes after his injured knee from weeks ago. Not that people remember weeks ago, but at least they're trying for continuity. Zayn comes back out, pulls Styles off the apron just as he's about to hit the forearm. And he sent Styles into the post and hits a haluva kick on Hardy. So Sami Zayn, who hasn't been on TV in months, has more heat on him than either of the guys you've just put in your Intercontinental title match. And he's supposed to be a heel, so shouldn't his natural inclination be to go for Hardy first? Especially since Hardy is the offending champion. Maybe if Styles wants to get in the way, but my inclination would be have him attack Hardy first, since Hardy's the one holding the, in his mind, imposter belt. Anyway, clumsily booked thing here. Reigns and Uso, the tag match is made official for later in the night, and then the cousins are talking in the locker room. Hardy is, I guess, stumbling around post-match. The announcers are concerned from that. Elise, whatever her last name is, lets everyone know that Hardy did not lose consciousness and fell because of dehydration. I don't. Why? Why do we care why Hardy fell? Why are we placing so much emphasis on Hardy falling? This does not add to the match. This does not add to the program. This just seems like we're giving reasons for the sake of reasons. Styles interrupts and says that Hardy cheated to beat him, and Zayn disappears for months, and Styles promises to win the Intercontinental title again. they do a recap of Cesaro and Nakamura challenging the Street Profits. Champions Lounge. Street Profits appear from Raw. I don't like these interpromotional things. And then Street Profits and the SmackDown champions kind of, they're talking about the upcoming match on Raw. And then we move to another segment. Lucha House Party discuss winning the SmackDown tag titles. Kalisto refers to himself as the leader, so I assume he's splitting off from Lucha House Party at some point. Trainer's checking on Hardy in the back, told him he needs fluids. Sami Zayn comes in, starts brawling with Hardy again. Yet he's not going to get fined for beating up a guy who's injured, so again, this doesn't make sense. Next, we go to Lucha House Party with Lince Dorado defeating the SmackDown Tag Champs, Cesaro and Nakamura, which technically means they're the third team in ranking, in the sense that if Cesaro and Nakamura are supposed to go to Raw on Monday to face the Street Profits, but Lucha House Party beats them, then shouldn't Lucha House Party go as representatives of the best tag team on SmackDown? Anyway, heels dominate early, and they end up doing a distraction finish to close out. Grand Metalik takes Cesaro down with some head scissors. Kalisto hits a splash off of Metalik's shoulders for a near fall. Heels take over. Kalisto gets beat up for a while. Cesaro held Kalisto in a gut wrench suplex. Nakamura hits the knee, and then Cesaro finishes the suplex. This is a good double team spot. Street Profits appear on the screen. They're having a party where Cesaro and Nakamura hang out. This distracted the heels. Kalisto rolls up Cesaro for the win. If you have to beat one of the two, why not Nakamura? He's less repairable than Cesaro at this point. But anyway, back from the break, Street Profits continue the party, and Lucha House Party comes and joins. Then, my biggest disappointment of the night, the Bayley promo. I love Bayley. Bayley has been one of my guilty pleasures all the way back to when she was on NXT. I've loved the evolution of her character. I think she's probably one of the top 5, well, maybe even top 3 talents in the company right now, and in all of wrestling, easily top 10. Anyway, she comes out, and she makes her way with a chair, grabs a mic, sits down, recaps the story with Sasha from last week. Everyone's asking about how Sasha's feeling. Nobody's asking how Bayley is doing. She rags about beating her down for quite a while. She pointed out that she is not naive and that she knew Banks was going to eventually turn on her, so she beat her to it. Bayley knows that Sasha pretended to be her best friend and she's just using her. Bayley knows this because she used Banks every step of the way. And she noted after last week, Banks is useless to her. Now, you have literally months, if not years, invested in this story. You could say something like, you're Sasha, everybody gave to you because you're more flashy. Everyone gave to you because you're Snoop Dogg's niece, cousin, whatever. Everybody gave to you because you're you trained harder. Everyone gave to you because you're prettier. There's a million ways you could have gone with this, and the story they gave is, I used you and you used me, and that's why this happened. Blah. How flat. What could have been a story to carry them through WrestleMania has just basically hit a brick wall, because I used you because you used me is just so middle school that it doesn't matter. Anyway, Nikki Cross makes her way to the ring. Bayley attacks her from behind with a chair. Alexa Bliss and the trainers check on Nikki Cross post the commercial. Trainers think that Nikki's good to go. Trainers are sure getting a lot of work here on SmackDown. Bliss has more braids than normal in her hair. Nikki Cross defeats the other three ladies in the three-way. I am starting to like Nikki Cross. I love Alexa Bliss. I think she's being wasted unless they're going to pull the trigger on the Bray Wyatt Braun Strowman story. Evans, I don't see anything in. Tamina, they could have let go long ago. Anyway, match is just clunky. And then Bliss jumps back into the match. Tamina splashes Bliss in the corner, and Evans goes to the floor. Cross jumps on Tamina's back. Cross goes nuts, gets a near fall on Tamina. She tosses Tamina onto the floor. Bliss follows up with a sliding drop kick. And Michael Cole raises that the Fiend is not affecting her. And then magically, Bliss goes into a trance. Shouldn't the trance be like after a hit or after a offensive move or something? Like it seems too random. Cross hits a crossbody off the apron onto the heels. So then, while Bliss is in the trance, she hits Sister Abigail and her best friend on the floor. Bliss leaves the match and turns it into a triple threat. And Evans hits a moonsault on Tamina for a near fall. Cross breaks it up and goes for a pin attempt. Cross scores a near fall on Evans. Tamina makes the save. Evans hit the women's right on Tamina, and Cross hits the neck breaker on Evans. Tamina gets rolled up and beaten by Cross after missing a super kick. Man, this match was horrible. Just blah. So you have two women that actually matter in the match, that being Nikki Cross and Alexa Bliss. The other two are just filler at best. And then one of them goes away. You could have continued a story with Cross and Bliss somehow. Instead, you throw Cross in the middle of nowhere. The match for the network purview is now cold. No one cares. So then we go to another match that no one cares about. Otis with Tucker defeating John Morrison with The Miz. Otis dominates Morrison for the majority of the match. And Otis gets a victory. Blah. Just... John Morrison's such a talented guy. John Morrison's been around wrestling forever. John Morrison had a renaissance of sorts in the independents and proved that he could be a main guy. And they bring him back here and they give him upper six figures a year probably, and they waste him with a guy like Otis. I get that the idea was the Mandy and Otis storyline going somewhere. I get that Otis had the briefcase because it was funny, but they've shown no dedication to the payoff of this story, and they're wasting perfectly talented people along the way. I mean, if you had to, of Miz and Morrison, beat Miz. Like, at this point, the Miz has been around for 15 years, maybe, and him taking a loss in the middle of the ring doesn't mean nearly as much as Morrison, who you could have used as a top guy on SmackDown or to get people on NXT over or something, anything. Instead, you're wasting him in matches with a fat comedy gimmick. Like, no, just no. So Morrison's briefly in control. Otis hits a belly to back suplex to get things going back his way. Miz causes a distraction that puts Morrison back in control. The money in the bank contract is tossed to Miz. Miz runs away. Otis recovers, hits a splash in the corner, hits a Vader bomb for the win. Blah. So they do the whole comedy bit with the briefcase, the contract not being in the lunchbox. Yay, hoorah! Firefly Funhouse after a recap of um, Sheamus laying out Big E, which means they're going to continue that feud, which is a waste of Big E. Anyway, Wyatt comes in and uh, says that Roman Reigns has the Universal Championship. He says he's got to deal with the loss. And then the phrase, the less you know, flashes across the screen, mocking the more you know. Public service announcement from NBC in the 90s. Anyway, Wyatt introduced the newest member of the Firefly Funhouse, the persevering parrot. Wyatt does not cut holes in the box. Parrot cannot get out. Evil Vince puppet shows up and says that Wyatt cannot handle the Firefly Funhouse on his own. Introduced the walrus. Wyatt gave a shocked look, and they're wasting this too. Then we go to the main event, which is also, this is probably, honestly, I've been watching SmackDown weekly, save for maybe 1 week the entire year, and we're, let's say 8.5 months into the year. This is the worst SmackDown I've seen of 2020. Like, there is absolutely no redeeming quality to this show, and I feel bad for the talent because they're working hard. I feel bad for Fox because they spent millions or billions or whatever they spent on this product. I feel bad for the production staff that has to risk their lives with COVID to put this on television. Like, there's no redeeming quality, and honestly, it's not me going, I hate wrestling or I'm bitter. No, this is like literally people are putting their lives on the line to put this product out there. That's just unconscionable. And the fact that anyone, be it Vince McMahon, be it Bruce Pritchard, be it whomever, signs off on this, it just shows they're completely out of touch. Anyway, so Roman Reigns with Paul Heyman and Jey Uso defeat Corbin and Sheamus. The focus is setting up the Universal Championship match, as can be imagined. Uso makes his way to the ring. The heels attack from behind. Match starts without Roman Reigns even being there. Uso makes a brief comeback. Sheamus gets a near fall out of that. Heels dominate. Uso make fun of him. Uso fights back, knocks Sheamus off the apron. Catches Corbin with a super kick. Hits a Samoan drop. And Sheamus sets up the Brogue Kick. Roman Reigns music hits. And Heyman and Reigns walk to the ring. Heels are distracted by this. Uso goes nuts, hits a suicide dive on Corbin, super kick on Sheamus. Uso hits a splash on Sheamus. Reigns makes a blind tag, then hits a spear on Sheamus for the win. Reigns and Uso pose on the stage. Uso grabs his hand with the belt and raised it. And this makes Roman mad, and they couldn't hide the tension. SmackDown ends. Question. So, shouldn't Jey Uso, unless he has some sort of, either absorption of lead paint or some sort of mental deficiency or other brain injury, shouldn't he be, upset next week that that Roman Reigns didn't show up until he was absolutely needed? Unless he's just, my family doesn't care about me, shouldn't he be upset? I have no faith they're going to follow up on this in a human emotion sort of way. But, anyway, like I said, worst SmackDown of the year. And, anyway. Until next time, keep your feet on the ground, your mind in the moment. Until next time, everybody.